Let's press it out, guys. Full of beans today. Not yet, actually, as you can see. I began grabbing some soup as I get myself ready to go to Soul's Path this evening for a Church of Bubbles service, simply because there are incredible people that will be attending, and we can have fun together and also work towards planning for the Hub for Humankind that is happening May 17th to 19th. So, I'm chopping some garlic. We'll keep the energetic vampirism at bay and say that it is time for us to come together and authentically be ourselves, fully. Now, that's a little play on words because at the Hub for Humankind, I will be helping to coordinate the camp authenticity and also work towards planning the key scenes for the documentary about how we harmonized us. I tracked the real story of Rome, which is the acronym for relatable, ethical, altruistic, and loving. And Rome is the reality of my empowerment when I stand as the first person in my story, and you can say the same when you are telling your own story. You're the second person in my story because I'm first, but I'm the second person in your story when you're telling it, unless you let me tell your story for you rather, in which case then you would become the third person in your own story, which is connected to the legal fiction and the Justinian connection that I wrote a report I posted to my website for free last year when I was in the beginning stages of that process. And I can tell you that it was incredibly disillusioning to understand the usury nature of a usufructory system that has multiple variations and versions, perfect being when abusus is introduced to the fructus and usus that would be part of an imperfect usufruct. And then also the fact there's a quasi-usufruct. What the fruct, right? Fructing is when you're extracting rich elements from a quarry, which is a rich source. So, without this hopefully sending you into fear, because that's not the intention, my dear, it is to say that deers symbolically are the pathfinders. And what we have an opportunity to do is come together. So, the Hub for Humankind is the opportunity we have to do so, May 17th to 19th. There is Camp Abundance, Consciousness, and Harmony, as well as the Fun Camp, too. So, you've got lots of options. The schedule was just released to us who are the core leads this morning, and I am working on getting that all together before I head up to Soul's Path, not just for the Church of Bubbles, but also actually because I am vending my book at the Revolution Market tomorrow in Sharon, which is connected to the Soul Shine community, and there are amazing people that will be there for that experience, which is part of why I said yes, even though it is quite the drive, which is why I'm grateful to be able to stay at the Three Bears cabin tonight at Soul's Path, and for the next day or two in order to get some of the filming together. Though I don't like to necessarily say what I'm doing as I'm doing it, because in a virtual environment, that's the equivalent of letting robbers know when you're going to be away. When you say, I'm on vacation, and they say, oh great, we can go and plunder your property while you're away. My property is not mine. This is my grandparents', you'll find, and my dad and family are nearby, so no need for any drive-bys. But I say all of that because it is plays on words. It's also part of the crazy world that we're living in. It's bringing awareness to the fact that when we tell people what we're doing, which is why I often don't anymore, even though I have quite the public platforms, many of them that I pay to play on, and have just been offering everything for free outside of my book and the mastermind that I have on it as well, that will be wrapping up before the hub, and the next one starting being the real special practice of fully committed, or being fully committed without getting committed, such as what I did, which was such a descansos in my world. So, with all of that said, I simply wanted to say that tomorrow at Revolution Market there's going to be some amazing vendors that are coming together, and there's kids activities and lots being offered that I'm excited to be part of. And Soul's Path is how I got connected into all of it, because that's where Soulshine Festival was held for the first 3 years. And I am just incredibly grateful as I make this healthy soup for my grandpa, so that he will hopefully have some added nourishment outside of how he cares for himself when I'm not here to do it for him. He's 90, and he thinks that because the doctor prescribed Boost, it's healthy, and didn't think there was sugar in it because the doctor prescribed it, so naturally it would be healthy, right? Yeah. He's a very smart man. But there is a lot to be said about the natural inclination within a normalized system that puts our power outside of ourselves to trust authorities blindly, because we presume they have their position because they know better. I said that at 707, which is the number of spiritual transformation. And that is part of why Friday, May 17th, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be sharing empowered storytelling beyond the hero's journey. So it's actually going into Hyro's prism, or the PR-ism, that actually helps us see the insanity of a system designed to feed off of we, you and I. We are the first person in our own story until we let a second person, office of agent, usury agent, speak for us and displace us from the first person in our story, such as what I mentioned earlier. If you were to let me tell your story, I'd tell it as he or she or they, if you prefer, though if I said they, I would want to know who else was involved, because they is plural, and that would just mean that you've got a burrow of ideas and spirits in your head to have you be led into believing you're more than just the one entity that your body is when storing your soul, which is whole until spirits get involved, and then we believe ourselves to be more than we are, which is less than we are, or were originally as we are, which is why the documentary that is being co-created and consciously crafted by us who are not specialized in any specific craft as such, per the witchcrafts that we're not getting hung out to dry for or burned at a stake for. Witchcraft, playing with the spelling to see which craft are we talking about, like law, medicine, education, philosophy, theology, economics. What's your craft? What are you specialized in? Which eyes have been made special to lies that we buy because that's what the indoctrination of being indoctrination said was true. It's much ado about nothing, which is no thing until we think the thing is true. So, without any further ado, I'd love to see your comments down below, and also know what this message means to you, for you, and whether you are going to get yourself in not just the room, but the space of Soul's Path for the Hub for Humankind. May 17th to 19th. Would love to have you part of it.